Greetings, it's Monday. How are you? Focus. A little out of focus today. Come on. Buckle down. Focus. Or don't. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Just a warning. I have a puffy eye. I don't know if you can see it that well in here. I looked it up. I might have blepharitis. I don't know. It's something that's been kind of painful for the past few days. It got really big and then it's gotten smaller. It's improving now. It's not great, but let's not worry about that right now, okay? Today we're talking about saying no. Saying no is something that there are different ways to look at it because there's different reasons to say no and different things to say no to. You can say no to your friends. You can say no to things. You can say no to opportunities. You can say no to your own ideas or, various other things. So like saying no to, your friends wanting to do a fun thing or like substances or consumption or buying things or whatever in your personal life is one thing. And in general, can be a real problem. But the no that is more of a problem for me these days is the no to my own ideas, projects, opportunities, which I guess is a good place to be, that I have opportunities to say no to, I guess. But I feel like that's something that can be a problem no matter what stage of life you're at. I think in a lot of ways, saying yes to a lot of things is what got me to where I am today. So like early on, I think I used yes as a motivation. Agreeing to do things because I was afraid if I said no to them, I'd just be lazy. Or projects would come up that I was afraid of, but I used that fear as an indication that's something I should do. Or if I'm young and I want to learn what I'm capable of, say yes so that I force myself into a situation where I do a thing because I have to. In general, I sometimes need that. I need deadlines. I need outside forces expecting me to get things done so that I do them. In many situations, I need that. So in many situations, yes, even when I might kind of want to say no, yes might be the right choice. This is why this is hard, to learn when to say no. If I would have said no to a lot of things back in the early parts of my career, I feel like that, looking back, probably the wrong choice. On the other hand, there's no way to know. There's no way to know what would have happened had I said no instead of yes to a lot of things. You don't know what might have been. You will never know what might have been. Even if you say no to something that someone else says yes to, and then whatever it is, becomes a raging success or leads to great things, and you look at that and you're like, oh, regret. That's not really true. You don't know that if you would have said yes, the same things would have happened to you. I mean, unless you're looking at like, should I have invested in this stock, or should I have picked this number in the lottery or something? But that's like you can't bank your life on things like that. You won't know because you saying no to that thing allowed you to say yes to other things. So whatever it is you're doing instead, you wouldn't be doing if you would have said yes to that. I mean, there are ways to do both. It's usually not a binary thing. You can say yes to something and still do the other things as well. Or maybe you said no to that and then you ended up doing nothing and were lazy. Maybe, but doing nothing and being lazy is kind of awesome. So you were able to do nothing and have less stress about whatever the thing was that the other person said yes to. So I don't think you should look at that as a loss. Usually, there isn't a right answer, yes or no, to an opportunity. To, should I go out with friends? To, should I have another cookie? I mean, sometimes there's an obvious answer if you end up getting sick from eating something. But long term, I'm not sure how obvious it is. Like short term, like, ooh, should I try this? Should I go in for seconds? Get some more spaghetti, and then you get kind of full and you're like, whoa. But you also got to have that spaghetti, which is pretty awesome. Yeah, the sickness, maybe you regret it, maybe you won't do it the next time. But long term, did that shorten years of your life? Probably not. You're probably fine. In general, there's usually no right answer. But I think it can be a problem when you avoid no because you're afraid of disappointing people. You're afraid of missing opportunities that you might not even be that excited about. Or you say yes to a thing you're unsure of and it ends up consuming your life and creating a lot of work or deep long-term problems. Saying no for the wrong reasons. I think if you're having trouble saying no pretty often, that's an indication. You should use that as an indication that you don't know what you want. You don't have goals. You don't have a plan. You don't feel like you have a purpose, or you think you do, but maybe it's not as well ingrained as you think it is if you're having trouble saying no to things. If you don't know what the answer is, should I do this or should I do that? Consistently. Always there's going to be things that come up that are going to be hard to know the right answer, yes or no. But if that's happening over and over and over and over again for questions from all over the map, it means you probably don't have a plan. And maybe that's fine for you. It wouldn't be fine for me. I would want a plan. I still struggle with saying no to things sometimes. See, I like to do video. I like making videos. I like editing. I like writing videos. I don't like doing it all the time. It's a lot of work. It's exhausting, but I like doing it. And I think it's something I'm good at, and I like using that skill. I like making use of it for others and for myself. And that leads to a wide array of choices because that skill can be used for many different things. And I end up saying yes to a lot of those things because it's like, oh yeah, I get to do my video stuff and you're going to pay me? Or I get to do my video stuff and we're going to raise money for charity, and I get to do my video stuff and it's going to give me giggles. Did I say, it kind of sounded like I said gaggles a little. Giggles? Sorry, it's early. It's early in the morning when I shot this. And so there are many opportunities to say yes. So I find myself getting into that problem sometimes. And then I need to start nailing down a more specific purpose for what I'm doing. Like, why do I want to make video? What's the way I can get the most use out of my skill? Or what's the way I could contribute to the world the most? What do I want to contribute? Because there are many possible things I could do. And I still struggle with that. Like, I think I'm much better at it now. I make less videos now, probably because I have a better idea what I'm trying to do. But early on, I would say yes to all that because I didn't know. I didn't really know what, and I'm young and I don't know what I'm capable of. So you say yes, yes. But after a while, that can become a terrible problem. But now we need to go to the sponsor of this video. Thank you, different time and or location, Craig. To be you again. I think I have a pretty good idea what that would be like because I'm a sharp cookie. Some might say brilliant. They might also say brilliant if they were referring to the sponsor of this video, brilliant.org. They're a problem-solving website in the subjects of mathematics, science, computer science, over 60 courses. If you ate 60 courses in a meal, you would explode. Thankfully, you're not eating these courses. Do not try it. That would mean eating your laptop or whatever device you're using. I learned the hard way you're not supposed to do that. I got the idea from stupid.biz. I should have gone to brilliant.org. Now, you might be saying to yourself, math? Science? Either you're on a roller coaster or you're scared of these subjects. You don't have to be scared of these subjects. In fact, with Brilliant, they are a delightful experience of guided discovery, okay? I had a great time doing the logic course. Look, there's exactly one false statement in this list, or there's two, or there's three. Well, if one is true, then both 2 and 3 are false, making 1 false. If 3 is true, then 3 is false. Gotta be 2. Sure enough, but let's learn what's really going on here by showing the explanation. Because you see, it's not just about memorizing formulas, it's about learning basic concepts and applying them. Developing your intuition without paying an arm and a shin tuition for college, as the saying doesn't go. There's a wide range of content like interactive courses in the topics of mathematical fundamentals, quantitative finance, scientific thinking, special relativity, programming with Python or machine learning, algebra, algebra 2, the algebraining, logic 2. This time, it's logical. Also a prequel to algebra. Don't go to stupid.biz. Go to brilliant.org/WheezyNews and sign up for free. And also the first 200 to click will get 20% off the annual premium membership. Wowzers. And now back to different time and or location, Craig. I just realized that I am always in a different time and location because time's always moving forward and the earth is always moving someward. Wow. That's fine. I thought I'd be wearing different clothes in that sponsored portion, which I shot yesterday. I'm wearing the same clothes. So what? It's morning. I haven't exercised and showered yet. I get up, I put on the clothes from yesterday that I have on the floor next to the bed, and I go to work. I don't shower right away and I don't necessarily shower every day, but days I exercise, which are most days, I shower. But I wait to exercise first. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to shower twice, cause I don't want to be sweaty. You know what I'm saying? Anywho, let's talk more about saying no. Okay. I have some notes here. Tim Urban, who does Wait But Why, the blog, which is really good, by the way. He talks about doing the Epitaph Test. Basically, when someone's asking you, I think this is more about saying no to opportunities or no to projects, but it can be about everything. But basically, if you say yes to this, is this something that would be on your epitaph? Is this something you would want people to talk about after you're gone, about what you've done? And I think that's a pretty good litmus test for if you should say no or yes to something on the one hand. But on the other hand, I don't know that that's to constantly think about how you will be remembered, how if this one choice is gonna define you. I don't always want to be doing things that are gonna define me. I sometimes just want to do things because I think they're fun and they will make me happy in the short term. They'll be good for now. This is how you live your life. We all live our life in the short term. Now is always now. You know? I didn't actually, when I wrote this down in my notes, I didn't realize that I'm kind of was going to reject it in this video. But I don't like living my life in terms of how people will remember me. I think when I was younger, I thought about it more, about how to live forever in the minds of the world. That's sort of a common goal for people, to create a legend, to become a legend, to become a story that people talk about as a way to live forever, to as I get older, that appeals to me less and less. And I think that drive to be famous, to be remembered, can be a problem. It causes a lot of problems in the world. A lot of people do things that are not good for the world just so that they can be remembered. China actually has a quote that she has tattooed on her arm that was said by John Green. I don't remember the exact quote now, but it's something like, it's sad to think that there are people in the world, or people who want to make their mark, even though that mark is a scar, or something like that. And it was in reference to a shooting. And so that thinking of like making a statement, being the a legend like that, it's problematic in a lot of ways, and it appeals to me less because I think as I get older, I think more about just how I'm enjoying life day to day, how I'm enjoying now. And when I'm dead and gone, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if people remember me. What matters is how they are living their life. And eventually, nearly all of it will be forgotten. All of us. Sorry about that. We will be forgotten. And I thought this was going to be a useful way to say yes to something, your Epitaph Test, but I'm not sure anymore. I think you should have a series of goals and a plan for how to live your life, and weigh that with your yes and no questions. And you'll have a better idea of what to say yes to, what to say no to, when you have a better idea of your plan, of your the purpose of whatever it is you want to do with your life. But the Epitaph Test is only useful if your purpose has to do with how others will see you after you're gone. If that's important to you. And that, I guess I can understand that being important. I think it can be a good motivation. But it's not that important to me, how people will see me when I'm gone. It's more important to me how people will, I want to leave the world slightly better than when I entered it. I mean, that would be a goal, to try to improve the world in some way. But I don't really care if it's tied to me when I'm dead. When I'm dead, I'm dead. It doesn't matter to me what you think. Because I won't be alive. But I would like to leave the world better than when I entered it. That's a goal. So the Epitaph Test, not necessarily, but having a plan, having a goal, having a purpose, and weighing that with the yes or no question. That does help. And yeah, I guess that's enough about leaving a legacy. I guess, well, things will be forgotten. Like, everything will be forgotten. The things that have lasted, we have history. We have a lot of history written down of leaders and things they've done. And historians remember, people who study this remember a lot. But the general public, any given day, you're going to come across people who don't remember or care about leaders of the past. Famous people, especially like famous actors and actresses, filmmakers. I'm thinking about that world because that's the world I have been most interested in. Most people do not remember or care about what was the best picture of 1943. What was it? Let's look it up. Most people today will not watch it, probably. Best picture 1943. It was Mrs. Miniver. A movie I think I've heard of, but I really know nothing about. It's got Jackie Gleason in it, or no? It's written very small. It's not Jackie Gleason. I just saw a word that looked like Gleason, but it's not Gleason. Greer Garson, Walter Pidgeon. I don't even know who those people are, but it looks like it's about war. Probably World War II, 1943. No one cares. You know? I want to work really hard and make movies eventually. That's a goal of mine. But I have no illusion that even no matter how successful, it will be forgotten. I didn't know that I was going to end up here when this video. I thought this was just going to be about saying no to stuff. But it still is about that. It's just, so when you say no, like weighing it with how will people remember me from by this project, that doesn't enter into the equation for me. Here's something interesting that I came across, though, that might help with your saying no. And maybe I should have led with this because it seems like this could be a pretty useful thing. So I saw this on Tim Ferriss's blog. So there's layers of people here. So he wrote a blog about how to say no to things, effective ways of saying no or something, I don't know. And he quoted Sharon Salzberg, co-founder of the Insight Meditation Society, who talks about a friend. So it's Tim Ferriss. It's me telling you about Tim Ferriss, telling you about Sharon Salzberg, who's talking about a friend who had trouble saying no. And so during meditation, she ran through scenarios in her head in which maybe scenarios that she had said no or had trouble saying no, or maybe made up scenarios. I don't know. And she paid attention to the feeling, the sensations in her body and it was like knots in her stomach, and it affected her breathing. Basically, she was panicking and not saying no because maybe they won't like me anymore, is the quote. So she paid attention to the physical sensation that would happen when she struggled with saying no. After that, she starts paying attention to it in her everyday life. She starts recognizing it when it happens. And so if someone asks her something and she's struggling to say no, and so she'll end up saying yes, rather than doing that, she says, I will get back to you, and then waits until the feeling subsides. I assume. Some of this I'm assuming because it's just a short quote. But and then she'll delay her answer until the feeling passes and then come back and decide yes or no. Because in that state, that's not a good place to be to make a decision. You're making a decision for the wrong reasons. I haven't tried that. That sounds like a good idea. I don't necessarily struggle that hard with saying no. Maybe I do. Maybe I say yes to things. I guess I don't interact with a lot of people on a day-to-day basis. I nearly always say yes to requests from my wife or from my child. They're usually not major life-changing requests. And if I'm struggling with a yes or no, I often have time to step away because it's through email or through messaging. On the other hand, I think it would be useful to pay attention to the feelings in your body when you're struggling with a question. And there might be a visceral, physical reason you're saying yes or no to something, which is not the right way to go about it, you know. Yeah, that's my feelings on saying no. I don't know if this helps you or puts things in perspective. I hope so. Basically, I think it's good. It's a skill to learn, and it's tricky. It's nuanced. There's no right or wrong. Just don't worry about being wrong, because I think in most cases it's impossible to know what might have been. And even if you do know, in those situations, focus on what is now rather than what might have been. Because what is now isn't necessarily directly opposite of what might have been, you know. Probably it's a varying level of degrees of what you think is awesome, you know. Yeah. Don't be afraid of saying no. Say it more often. Probably. I think most people, not everyone, well, there are people who say no to way too many things, probably. Negative Nellies, if you will. And maybe people say yes to a lot of things because they are afraid of being a negative Nelly. I wouldn't worry about it. Lots of people say no to lots of things and they still have friends. You know? It's all varying degrees. I think we get afraid to be... We're afraid of the extremes. People don't want to say yes to a lot of things because they don't want to be... Or people say no a lot because they're afraid of being naive. They're afraid of going into something that could get them in over their head. They're afraid of failure. Or they're just don't like the world and say no a lot. People think that if they say no, they will be that. But saying no to something doesn't automatically put you in that extreme. Saying yes, same thing. People are afraid of saying yes to, or people say yes to everything because they're afraid of that, or because they are overly optimistic, naive, easily swayed. Just because you say yes to something doesn't make you that. You're not automatically one of the extremes, is my point. Usually, there's lots of layers of nuance in between. So don't say yes or no out of fear of being one of those extremes, you know? But also try to avoid being one of those extremes. I hope that helps you. What else is going on? I think that's about it. I do these kind of videos every single weekday on Patreon. I have a Wheezy Waiter Creator Scholarship for $1,000 on bold.org. I'm going to link that down there. The Discord. I have a Wheezy Waiter Discord called Wheezy House, which is... I should have led with that in the beginning of the video. I forgot. I was going to say that right away. Some of you, I think the ones who would really be interested are still here. If you want to hang out at the Discord, which is a place, it's a server where there's different channels of topics for you to discuss different things, different people who watch my videos, beard lovers, all of you. A lot of you are probably like-minded people because you like listening to me. You can go to the Discord, you can hang out, you can talk to people. There'll be a link down there for that. And that's about it for now. I'm not good at thinking up the things I should be promoting outside of the video. The subject of the video I'm talking about these days. I'm not as good about it. But that's okay. I've made my peace with it. Thank you for watching. Happy Monday. Say no to things. It's useful. But not everything. No.